Lisbeth. I'm the founder of Nordic Dog Trainer, and tonight I want to talk about something that is important for us that are working with dogs. So this is about for people who are professionally working with dogs as a dog trainer or doing consultations or one-to-one lessons if you want. And normally I talk about all things dogs. And occasionally I talk about things that is important for us that are working with dogs. Like today, I just want to have a little chat with you about the importance of building a good relationship to the clients, to the dog owners or caretakers. Because working as a dog trainer, a lot of people are telling me that they want to work with dogs, or they want to work as a dog trainer more specifically because they love dogs. And that's all fine. I love that you love dogs. But the thing is that working as a dog trainer or working with behavior means that we are actually working maybe even more with people, because a dog trainer is not like your normal teaching job where we teach people. So we are teaching people, but now you are teaching someone, a person, to become a dog trainer, to do what you tell them to do with their dog, because very rarely we are training their dogs. Certainly we do not recommend taking in dogs for training and to have customers leave dogs with you for a period of time so that you can train your dog. For many good reasons we do not recommend that, so that's something we don't do at Nordic Dog Trainer. So you then need to communicate and instruct and get a relationship to the dog owner, the caretaker of the dog, enabling them to do what you do when you are training your own dog. And this is challenging. It's very challenging. In level 3, we are touching a little bit upon this topic. Previously on level 3, we had a much well, it was quite different. It was very full. I mean, there was a lot of work for the level 3 a couple of years ago, so we kind of changed level 3 a bit, but I think we need to put in more about this again, because this is very important, how we communicate. Because not only is it challenging in the way that we have to teach someone to become a dog trainer themselves and to have, you know, the same joy with training dogs as we do. Normally people don't get a dog to become a dog trainer or a behaviorist, but if they get problems with their dogs, if there's some problem behavior, they have to kind of do things that they weren't really opting in for when they got their dog. So that's another challenge, to get an alliance, a good alliance with the dog caretaker, so that you can motivate and inspire them to do this job. But also because we are working with animals, and all of us working with dogs, we love dogs. We really care for dogs. And to be honest, this is the most difficult job I've had emotionally to this date in my life. And I've worked for the Red Cross. So I find this even more challenging, because really we are there to help the dog, right? And in order to help a dog, we really want to help this dog. And sometimes you want to bring the dog back home with you, but you just, of course, you can't do that. But sometimes you meet dogs that really need your help, and you don't feel good about it when they're leaving with the dog, because kind of realize that the the caretaker is not interested in doing what you are suggesting them to do. Um, Maybe not interested, or maybe doesn't understand what or how. So your communication skills is important. It's important that you invest time to to learn how to be good at communicating with the people, the dog caretaker. And there's a lot of, there are courses, there are books, there are educations in psychology and communication, all sorts of things we can learn to do to become better at doing it. And it's not only us, it's nurses, police, a lot of other jobs are required to have good communication skills and with people. So this is something you need to invest some time learning and practicing, because that's the thing. All of these things are very practical things. You can read about it, but you have to practice what you learn. And that's what I found as well, that uh, it's not surprisingly, it's how much I'm doing it that's really helping me to get better at doing it. And when it comes to communication and communication skills, I'm not an expert in this, but I think it's interesting, and I think people are interesting, and the psychology about it is interesting. So of course that helps. So I've learned a few tricks uh, on how I should communicate, and that's detailed things like how I should um, formulate my questions and even answers and so on. And we have a lot of people, students at our dog trainer school, who ask us frequently, what do you say to this person when so and so happens? And that's the thing, you see, because who is that person? We are very different people, so you need to kind of talk to that person. How can I say this? In a way that's right for that person, that the communication that you have to build an alliance. We talk a lot about that, building an alliance with the client. And why do we want to do that? Okay, I'll tell you what. When I have dogs and their caretakers on in-person courses, I want to help the dogs. And to do that, I have to build an alliance with the caretaker, with the owner of the dog, to ensure that he or she understands and want and agrees to do what I advise them to do. So it's difficult because you don't always get along with everyone. Some people are very hard to get along with, to be honest, and some people you don't want to get along with. But for the sake of the dog, I think you should do that, because the option is that this person will take their dog somewhere else, and maybe to a dog trainer that is not following the advice or the methods that you are fond of and that you agree of doing. And we know that there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there when it comes to dog training, so we don't want that. I do appreciate the fact that humans, same as dogs, with some people we get along very well, we get along instantly, we have good chemistry. With some people it's a little bit takes a little bit longer, and with some people, a few people, you just don't really get along with that well. Thankfully, most people we do get along with. So this is where you have to really build a relationship to that client, and it depends on the personality of that person, and how you build that relationship and alliance is what you need to learn about. Now that's one side of it. Another one is, of course, when we are practically instructing them, other people. So instructions is very, that's where I have more of an expertise on how to instruct one-to-one. And that is also something you have to practice. You can't read it. You should read about it in a book, but that's not enough. You have to practice it. You have to practice it with many different people, and you have to do it many times. Same thing as communicating. The more we communicate with different people, the better you become at doing it. It goes for all kinds of jobs. Customer service, working in hotels, like I said, police, nurses, all kinds of jobs. So you need to practice, and it comes back to you going out there and actually do something. So that's why I am very much focusing on getting our students out there to start practicing what you learn, to offer your services. You don't have to be like a specialist before you do that. You can start by doing social walks or enriched environments, or just things that you feel comfortable of doing from what you already know. And the same goes with communicating. But I think it's one of the, I'm not sure how I would rate it. It's absolutely one of the most important things with our job. Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to rate it. I was thinking, should I, saying how many percent is it more important? But yeah. So I have some notes here. Let me just go and check my notes. There is a book by Rice von Fleet called The Human Half of Dog Training. She's talking about empathic listening, and in that book there are some really good practical examples on how we can communicate in a very clear way without being negative or throwing anyone under the bus or saying anything bad about other people, and also to motivate the dog owner. Because if we criticize, but no one wants to be criticized, and if we want to help the dog owner to change, for example, something very relevant to what we teach is that we absolutely prefer harnesses to collars. But the way we say it, it's the way you suggest to change from a collar to a harness. And it's also the way you explain things or why they need to do things. In dog training, we very often get questions like connected to the good old dominance theories. So these are things that you need to kind of rehearse. You have to say them many times in order to be good at finding a short way of describing something in a very easy to understand way for the customer. Because people are not interested in a lot of explanation. They just want the easy, quick answers to everything. And it's also important when you communicate with the dog caretaker that you have a clear goal of your communication. So what you want, to, can't remember the word in English now. What is the end goal with the conversation? What do you want? What you want to change or what you want to do? And it's also, we have to learn to listen and to understand what the clients are telling us. So we need to learn how to be as clear as possible in how we explain things and how we instruct things practically. but we also have to practice our skills listening, so we really truly can understand the client's feelings and emotions, because dog training and behavior is a lot about emotions, really. Sometimes we're a bit of a psychologist as well, to be honest, when we're doing consultations. There's so much frustration and so much feelings involved because we all love the dog. The dog trainer loves dogs in general, and the client loves and cares about their own dog. So there's a lot of emotions and feelings involved. And we need to practice and learn good skills on how we can listen actively and understand. So I'm just going to give one example. Before giving an advice and when asking the customer or the client about something, to make sure that you understand what they say and that you heard everything they said, is to, before you start replying or answering the client, is actually to sum up what they say, the way in your words. So to start with the sentence saying, so if I understand you right, and then you explain, I hear you saying that you feel that, blah, 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 whatever you're talking about. So these are some practical advice. And these things I had to write down when I heard them, when I learned them the first time years ago. Many of you probably heard these tips before as well. But I had to write it down. I had to write it down on my notes when I was teaching, when I was having one-to-ones, because it's kind of a science. It's something you learn how to do. So it's not coming to you automatically overnight. You have to practice it to do it many times. And then you remember it, after a while. Yeah, I'm just looking through my notes here to see if I forgot something. Also, how we give feedback to the clients is very important, and we practice that a lot in level 3. In level 2, on our dog trainer school, we typically the teachers are giving feedback to the students, but in level 3, students are learning how to give their feedback to each other, so they can practice giving feedback, because feedback is not only a feedback, it's the way you say it, it's the way you present it. Yeah, so it actually involves 3 points. The feedback, it's not just change to a harness or keep along a leash or something. There are 2 more things missing in that feedback, and that's what we practice doing at the dog trainer school. So all of these things, being a good communicator and communication skills, it's hard, I think. It's hard, but it's very interesting. And it's something you have to learn. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Have a nice evening, everyone. Okay, bye.